I had no idea how to play any instrument at all besides the trombone. And so when I joined the band, he goes, he's like, "You say you play right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just not very good." And I fucking lied to him. I don't know how to play shit. And he's like, "All right, you're the bass player then."
This is Champagne is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present. Champagne is Also a Band podcast is a member of the Champagne Showers Podcast Network. Welcome to Champagne is Also a Band podcast. Today, I have Dan Wachtel and Austin Yancy. And you may know Dan from such bands as Rocket Mouth, the Wachtels, Skyote, Raise the Dead, Not for the Faint of Heart, Chuckie Knucks, Knucksville Records. And then Austin, you may know from such bands as Not for the Faint of Heart, Gorerott, Spilling Satan's Blood, Chuckie Knucks, and some solo stuff here and there. So, Dan and Austin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So today, we're going to be listening to the song Gun to Your Head off the single Gun to Your Head, which was, I believe, was this your last release?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before, I guess, is the word disbanding or...
Yeah, I'd say so.
Band put on hold. Yeah.
Band put on... Oh, okay. So there is hope for the future.
There is hope, but it'll be some years and some change before that happens again.
So I guess without much further ado, why don't we just go ahead and listen to the song? Welcome back. So I always like to ask, and this may be awkward because I have two songwriters here. So with this, what came first, the words or the music, or was there a riff or something that came out?
I think ultimately the riff came first. Like, I would just, to test out distortion, that was just kind of my tester riff. I would just go, there it would be, and then
wait. Can you do that again? Yes.
And sometimes you would even do that with a guitar.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But very rarely we do that with the guitar. It's just all a cappella.
Yeah.
I know you guys have amazing voices. That's
Thanks.
for a cappella. That's just great. Anyway, carry on. I'm sorry.
Then I came up with the lyrics, and I never really thought of like any formatting. But then like the lyrics came to me one day when I was just kind of a mind versus mind mentality, just like within myself. I was just thinking like Miss May I, August Burns Red, the Acacia Strain, and I just kind of put that all together with the format, and there it was. And then we just pieced it together with the band.
So is your usual format, I'm assuming you do, I guess you could say, the more of the harsher vocals from what I've seen, and then Dan, that's you doing the more... I don't know. Is there? Please explain what is that? What style is that called? Where it's
cleans,
like harsh,
cleans and gutturals. The harsher stuff is like referred to as like screaming or gutturals, and then like the lighter like actual singing is like cleans.
On the recording, it's all me, but when we played it live, it's him doing
back and forth, me and Dan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was originally going to be on the recording, me and Dan, but
I just recorded the vocals, and then I was just like...
It sounded good as it is, basically, so we just left it alone.
Gotcha. So, did you recorded this locally, or...?
In Dan's living room, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
I mixed it through GarageBand and recorded everybody, and then sent it off to...
Mr. Mark Wyman.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Over at Tone Good Studio,
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes,
and
sir.
he mastered it.
Was there a particular instance that brought up the inspiration for the song, or something that you felt was important to express with the song?
Well, from my understanding of it, I was since I write riffs like 95% of the time, like some of the riffs that I write end up becoming the songs because I can't stop playing guitar. It's kind of a curse. Like I'll come up with a riff and then another riff and then another riff, and then we'll have 5 riffs with one set of lyrics trying to combine like this, that, and the other into the song. And me and Dan were in Guitar Center, and I was like burnt out, and he's like, dude, check this out. And then he did the dun dun re re, and then I made fun of him because it sounded like some generic like heavy metal song, and I was
you
like,
said...
I said it was Cannibal Corpse, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that fucking sucks. And then I grew into it kind of, and then I don't really know how to explain it. Like I shit on everything Dan does, but deep down I secretly love it. So it's kind of that band relationship kind of thing.
Let's just talk about one of the, I guess the line, I guess you could call it the chorus, maybe. I don't know. I've been forced through hell and back to try to get through this.
Yeah. Would you say that's the pre-chorus?
Pre-chorus.
Or the chorus itself.
When I that line was just kind of lead into the next line, which was "I'm the last man standing because ignorance is bliss," which came from I was hearing things about somebody who will remain nameless, and I kind of felt like I was one of the first ones to hear about it, because everybody else was just being happy, and they were like buddy with this person, and I knew the dark parts of...
In my personal opinion, I think that Dan, or me and Dan in general, have like the mindset to look over being friends with a person just because like they've been your friend, but then like went and did some like dirty shit. Whereas to everybody wants to forget about it and move on like nothing happened.
The line next is, "If I stop to think this through, I might end up dead."
that hit me in the feels. This is the first song that I had no help in writing with besides the guitar solo and like part of the riff. But that line to me hit home because we've both been in situations where if we think about it too much, it'll start, eating at us until the point where it drives us insane. So
might have been more of me being over dramatic. Like I tend to do that when I write songs, is that I don't keep it at the same level in which the actual situation that I'm writing about was at. Somebody calls me doodoo head at school, and I think about that, and I'm like, hey, that was kind of mean. I like overdo that when I write, so that way I just kind of have something to put out there, and it usually ends up pretty good.
Wait. Does that mean that the entire basis of the band is based on someone calling you a doodoo head in elementary school?
Yeah.
Okay, just clearing things up.
That's why I like metal today. I had a rough childhood.
You're a doodoo head.
Someone called me doodoo head in first grade, and I just could not recover.
So it's like, all right, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Then it kind of comes back to that. It's times like this, I think I have a gun put to my head. Is that's part of you're expressing what you're saying, that you need to make a decision on this soon. I have a tough decision to make and not much time to make it. Without naming names, so this entire song is about having that situation, knowing something about a person that you kind of make a decision to, do I cut this tumor out or do I treat this tumor kind of idea is what I'm thinking about. That goes along with the idea of the catch-22, fucked if I do, fucked if I don't. Life is hard when the things that you love are being held hostage. Was this situation in particular in a certain way it affected those that you love around you?
Yeah.
That kind of thing? Okay. Yes. Gotcha. And I understand the need to keep that anonymous. How do you usually bring songs to the band for both of you?
So,
like if you write a song, how do you bring it to the band?
It's better to act this out, so to speak.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, I have a riff.
Okay.
Cool. Put some lyrics.
All right.
And then that's it. That's literally how we write songs. Like,
okay.
And then we just bring it into the band and they figure out what's going on. Sometimes there'll be okay, maybe try again with something else. I'm not really feeling how you're playing that part, and then
or
just kind of fine tune it.
I don't like this lyric. Like, could we replace it with another word? Like, kind of a little bit of. I don't know how to explain it. It's like not how bands would normally like be at each other's throats, but it's like petty, like first grade, like arguing. If that makes any sense.
Not really. It's kind of like. It's kind of like you turn in a first draft. You turn in a first draft essay, and your language arts teacher kind of tells you what you could do to make it better, and then maybe third revision is where it gets to where everybody's happy.
Well, damn, at least your language arts teacher liked you.
Oh, none of my language arts teachers liked me.
I would write some like really dark and brutal shit. And
I would always do that too.
And they're like, no, you're in kindergarten. Calm the fuck down. Like,
I was writing dark stuff in high school. You're in kindergarten.
No, I was in kindergarten going, life sucks. They fucking broke my crayon. Like,
when did Not for the Faint of Heart actually form? Because it's gone through a few changes and iterations, right? Like, different people and. So,
it was like I started Skyote with a kid I went to middle school with, and then after our drummer quit, we decided we can't really go anywhere with this. We'll just take a break, and that's when I played most of my stuff with Rocket Mouth. And then after Camp Jam that year, I played with a bunch of kids who like metal, and my mom really, really liked it. She thought that I was a really good performer in that, and so she said, hey, you need to like put yourself out there, maybe Craigslist ad or something. And then we get all the bandmates from the Craigslist ad, me meeting people at school, And eventually we had 5 members in which I could just sing for the band. That lasted 1 gig.
Oh.
In which we were like working on the EP. One of the guitarists wouldn't show up for anything, and so he quit eventually to like find more time in his day, and we just wrote it, and we were happy with the lineup that we had, and we just went with it. We disbanded in late 2015. I hit up Austin. I hit up the other guitarist that was having the troubles, and kid that I went to jazz band with, and
We were then a 3-piece band.
we were a 4-piece band until until we parted ways with the lead guitarist again, in which he became the rhythm guitarist. I became the lead guitarist. He also took bass duties when recording the album, and more and more iterations. We were at the final one with Mel, me, Austin, and Thomas.
When I met Dan in high school, he thought that I was like some 23-year-old kid that hung out at high school parties. And
he looked a little old.
I'm like, okay.
Actually, no. I met you when I was a freshman. You were still in middle school.
Yeah, I was still. I didn't have
any background.
And he thought I was a 23-year-old kid that hung out at high school parties. And I was like, well, it'd be like that sometimes. No, when I first joined the band, like me and Dan became like not close at the time. I just follow him home because I was bored, like one of those things. I had no idea how to play any instrument at all besides the trombone. And so when I joined the band, he goes, he's like, you say you play right? And I was like, yeah, I'm just not very good. And I fucking lied to him. I don't know how to play shit. And he's like, all right, you're the bass player then. The first ever practice, I get to Dan's basement and I play one note, and it was absolute trash. So Dan then gave me one of his guitars, and I had to learn the entire EP before we did anything. So I had no sleep. I put blood, sweat, and tears into Dan's guitar. Don't fucking hate me for that. It was an accident.
It's fine.
And I cut my finger open on his guitar. I learned the entire EP in 2 weeks, and then I was still shitty enough to be the bass player. So he's like, yeah, you can be the bass player. I had absolutely no idea how to play any instrument when I joined the band, and now I can say for the 5 years that we've been in the band, I am one of the better players than I was before.
Yeah.
So I was going to say I'm the best in Urbana because, fuck everybody. No, I'm kidding.
I'm pretty sure Karthik is the best guitarist in Urbana.
Karthik plays guitar with a violin bow. He is the best ever.
And he said he was going to be the best, so we just let him be the best. He's the best.
He's going to be the very best that no one ever was.
He is the best. If you're looking for the best guitarist in Urbana, Karthik. 100%.
Motherfucking birthday cookie. Karthik. Of course he realized.
Yes. Yeah. Also, episode 27.
Karthik, I love you. Please respond.
If there is a show in Champaign, Urbana,
he's there.
He's going to be there.
He's that guy.
How would you classify your music? I'm sorry, I have now gotten into the whole, there's metal, and then there's all the subgenres, and then even within those subgenres there's new subgenres, and it's a rabbit hole that just keeps on giving.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, how would you classify your...
So, me and Dan narrowed it down because I was like... Because whenever people would ask us what we are, I'm like, we're Metallica with hints of Trivium and Static X and Motorhead and Behemoth and Pantera. And joking, but all the way to the nitty gritty, it was like thrashcore because it was kind of like speedy thrash riffs with breakdowns, and from then on it was metalcore, just basic metalcore. But I don't really know how to classify.
I heard some thrash in the last in Gun to Your Head myself. I mean, that's kind of how I did that.
And then other songs on our album, Corporate Greed is very thrashy, like the riff.
Yeah.
The song Joke, which is one of my personal favorites on the song because I wrote the riff. That's pretty
no
thrashy.
Egos here.
No egos at all.
We're actually progressive, easy, blackened ska-core.
Jazzcore, jazzcore.
Now you're just throwing words at the wall.
Disbanded. That's what our genre is.
Yeah, so with Corporate Greed, that was released, was that 2 years ago?
March of 2018. We released our single off that album, Face of Sin, before
In 2017.
17, yeah.
Oh,
in
okay.
October.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad when a band breaks up, and the last time that I saw you had a great show, and it was amazing, but
Thank you.
Thanks.
I just is it just a matter of time and energy and like trying to keep stuff together, or just, you know?
Honestly, I could do this like until I die, but like there was I don't know how to say it. There was like creative differences, and like literally Dan would tell me a reason and I would try and like have a comeback with it because I did not want it to end at all. No, I think there was like a little bit of differences, and then everything with the lineup change every month, it was kind of hard on us. The songwriting, you know, there wasn't one specific thing that was pressing. It was every little thing at one time made one big clusterfuck, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's the idea of that there's always the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? But you can't identify which straw that really was. It's just that it's just way too many straws. Metal is not necessarily, just even at the top, if you're going to talk about that as a genre, is not necessarily my best subject. Is it a drop D or drop C?
This song was in drop A.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because we're brutal and heavy, and everything we do has to be
We're super heavy.
Heavy, bro.
So why do you think that granted it gives a certain sound to the guitar when you've got a drop tuning, like the strings just
we have
vibrate
to
more and they're grittier or something, but
I think,
why do you think that goes with that genre so much?
I think you can make any tuning sound fucking awesome if you like try hard enough. Like, you know, Megadeth and Metallica, like Slayer and Anthrax, the big four in general do that very well with like the standard like E tuning. But like with us, we thought it'd be cool to drop the strings down and like do what we would do with the normal tuning, but like make it heavier, so to speak. Some riffs actually sound cooler in a different tuning.
Well, I almost think that it's like the callback and answer of, you look at folk music and they use the capo that brings the tuning up, but you know, like metal, you do the drop tuning that does that same kind of change of something where it's just like you'd be using some of the same fingerings, but you're changing the key, and that key has its own sense of
like every key speaks for itself.
To add on to the any tuning can sound good for anything if you really know what you're doing. With what I've been writing recently, which has been very inspired by Silverstein, like really early Silverstein, when they almost sounded like 90s Midwestern emo.
They're still 90s Midwestern emo.
No, they're not. They're from Canada.
Yeah, that's Midwestern emo, eh?
No, that's...
What are you talking about?
Canadian... Would it be Canadian Prairie, Toronto?
Canadian Blues. That's emo for... Yeah, what?
But I've been writing stuff inspired by that in drop C, and I wasn't like trying to make it sound like the absolute heaviest I could possibly write, and I think I achieved that. So you can pretty much just use any tuning you want with anything. You just need to know how to use it.
Yeah,
right.
I can vouch for that. Dan's performances lately, like I'll go see him at open mic because we're still friends. Because we're not one of those. But yeah, it sounds really good. The latest thing I've done, my brother Taryn, otherwise known as TJP, is a hip hop artist from here, and he wanted to put me on a song with him. Yeah. So we wrote a song where it was like, and then just like rap. So it was like better Limp Bizkit, you know, like like heavy Limp Bizkit. That's kind of what it was.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's not horrible, but like it's something. It's pretty cool.
Champaign is Also a Band podcast is proud to support Exile on Main Street. Exile on Main Street, located in the old train station building at 100 North Chestnut Street in downtown Champaign, has been helping to build record collections since 2004. Carrying a wide array of new and used LPs, CDs, and video games. Exile on Main Street has something for just about any music enthusiast and old-school gaming devotee. Exile also hosts regular free live music shows on its stage, so be sure to check out their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for the up-to-date details on the next upcoming event. Open 7 days a week. They can be reached by phone at 217-398-MAIN. That's 217-398-6246. Yeah, let's talk about the scene a little bit. You both, I think you grew up in the Belleville areas, or did I screw that up? Right?
Yeah, around Belleville. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Austin, where did you?
I emerged from under a rock back in 2012, and I started my journey in this accursed planet.
Okay, very good.
No, I was
so Danville.
I was born and raised in Hell, Michigan. Yeah, no, I'm from here.
Okay,
I'm fucking lame. I made one joke that I was from Michigan, and everybody everybody latched onto it. Like, bro, no shit, you're from Detroit? Yeah, motherfucker.
You said that because you wanted to be Eminem.
No, I wanted to be Eminem when I was 13 because I thought he was like the coolest fucking dude ever. So like I cut my hair and dyed it blonde and wore white t-shirts and I was Slim Shady.
You weren't the real Slim Shady. You were the side one.
I was the 21 Jump Street Slim Shady.
So you've been playing around since 2015. I mean, probably and earlier, or
me since like 2012.
Okay.
So I don't know how to explain this one. I got my guitar when I was 8, and I played it for a year, and I was like, I suck. Goodbye. And then me and this kid from Muhammad were like, hey, let's start a band. So we came up with the name Spilling Satan's Blood. I don't know why it's a thing, but it is. So we drew our own t-shirts, wrote SSB on them, and we thought we were fucking cool when it was like the biggest train wreck ever. And then me and my buddy Michael started this band called Empire of Corpses. It was so fucking lame because
with
like
the K?
With the K because he liked corn. So we had it with a K and a backwards R, and I was like, you know what? I'll just play guitar. And he told me he could fucking drum, like he was the shit, the drummer from Urbana. I take him in the Guitar Center. He hits the snare drum once, and he's like, yeah, I can't drum. So
yeah, I'm out.
So I'm a head out. But so that's where the solo shit came in. Just doing random crap here and there. I've never really gigged a lot. I've gigged one place, and it was at Dublin O'Neill's. Yeah,
yep.
It was because my aunt had cancer, so they were doing a benefit thing. I played guitar there, and then I just gave up. And then Dan was like, "Hey, Not for the Faint of Heart broke up," and I was like, "Ooh, word." So I lied and said I could play. So I joined the band.
So I kind of wonder how many people start off in a band and they're just like, this is terrible, I'm never going to do this again. But you went ahead and still did it, Austin. You didn't say like, fuck this. You kept doing it. Try to imagine how many people were just like, this isn't for me, and then they could have gotten better and they could have done, because as I said, like I feel like Not for the Faint of Heart, your sets are solid. It's not like anything amateurish about you. So it's like starting from a point of not knowing what the hell you're doing at all, but deciding to go ahead and do it. I think that's amazing.
I mean, something. I don't know if this is on topic or not, but like with Not for the Faint of Heart, whenever we would write a song, we'd listen to it and then play something completely fucking better that should have gone into the song. So we just give up on the song. We did that a lot, and then like live, we would input what we would have done on the recording. So if you listen to, this is off topic, I'm sorry, but if you listen to the record and then you hear us live, it's way different than what it is, basically.
How would you describe it as different? So what you're doing is different.
It's the same song, but there's a fuckload more of like, excessive drumming here, or like pinch harmonics there, and then Dan going blah there, or like just, stuff like that.
There's also like sometimes I add leads onto places.
Is there like a favorite venue that you played at?
I think overall
IMC.
Yeah, we played way more at the IMC than we did at any other venue.
We started getting Uprising at the Iron Post Bar. But like IMC was like our bread and butter, like our start.
Right.
Like our biggest show was at the IMC. Where I learned how to guitar solo was at the IMC.
Maybe I'm just interviewing all the right people, but it does seem like every single interview that I ask people that the IMC is like people's favorite venue.
Yeah.
And also just
Well, that's because
Yeah.
you're interviewing the DIY scene.
Yeah, and I think I think a big thing there is that there's like a sense of this isn't someone's. I mean, no offense to people that run shows out of their basement. Those shows are really cool, but like there's a sense of, for like people that don't really show up in the DIY scene all that much, they don't really want to go into someone's basement, and so they have a place to go there, and they like that about the IMC. And what we like about the IMC is that if you know how to run sound, if you know how to if you're respectful and all that, you can, so easy to get a gig there. You don't have to book like 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
Like it's you can just pick a time and there it is.
No, yeah, I was gonna say the IMC is very like free and liberating, like to do as you please, like to an extent, obviously, but like, yeah, I don't know what it is about it. It's like it makes you feel like you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Just it being an all ages venue, I feel like a lot of the music, I guess you could just say on the heavier side, tends to be in venues that are not all ages.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like
Definitely, yeah.
that's one of those things that there's nothing greater to me is when someone can hear something, a new genre or some new way of playing for the first time and have that experience and be able to like kind of put that in the back of their head and like process it and then bring it out in their own way. So I feel it's important that those that are, you know, not of drinking age or whatever, that when you have an all ages venue, that exposure to different genres of music that
Yeah.
you know, I feel like that just affects everybody in terms of the way that they view the world. I think the more that you're exposed to, the more accepting you are of other people and other ideas.
And there's one thing I'd like to add to that is that I probably would have never been into metal if it weren't for me seeing videos of Metallica playing shows when I was like 9, watching Amon Amarth at Wacken Open Air, all those bands that go through all those European festivals, seeing the atmosphere, seeing everybody having fun, seeing people get a little aggressive but respectful with it really helped me get into metal. And also when I was a freshman in high school, I went and saw the Black Dahlia Murder at 51 Main. I saw them when it was the Accord. I saw them with Lorna Shore, and at first Not for the Faint of Heart was probably going to be like a screamo band. Like we were really into the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and I'd say the farthest metal we ever were at that point was we played In Waves and Your Betrayal by Bullet for My Valentine. But then I saw the Black Dahlia Murder and I was just like, death metal 24/7, and I think that's kind of what led to the original disbanding.
What got me into metal, I couldn't tell you. It just happened because nobody in my family was like into that kind of thing. My mom was like deadly hungover, New Kids on the Block, and my dad was a DJ, so like hip hop obviously. And I don't know what happened. Like it started with waking up at 3 a.m. to like the show Metalocalypse being on TV, and I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. And I watched Beavis and Butthead, so Pantera, Metallica, this band called Gwar I saw on Beavis and Butthead, and I was like, holy fucking shit, what is that? And so yeah, I looked up what Gwar was, and that was like it. And then my next door neighbor was like overly obsessed with Metallica, like seen him 20 times, blah 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 blah. So he gave me a copy of their album Ride the Lightning, and when I listened to that, like that was it. Like Metallica 24/7, like that was all I listened to. So like that's what did it for me.
So what is your favorite Metallica album? Just curious.
Ride the Lightning, because it was my first album. Everybody's like, dude, Master of Puppets is the shit, but like Master of Puppets is like really commercial. Like the songwriting's fucking genius, the riffs are amazing, but like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, even the mixtape, it was like raw, aggressive, like pissed off, fuck you attitude. And then, but yeah.
Honestly, I kind of like the middle of the road with Ride the Lightning, whereas you get the energy from Kill 'Em All and you get the maturity of Master of Puppets, like all mixed into one.
Yeah, like Ride the Lightning for me was like the album.
Yeah, like my first Metallica album was the And Justice for All, and then I went from there.
Also a good album.
But that's a lot more like thrash, and then
it's thrashy,
and then you go back to, and then I think following that I went to Kill 'Em All, and then which is so very like raw and like.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that they're still kind of in their infancy as a band, and I mean you got Cliff Burton who's different, but
Cliff was like the only like real musician when Metallica started. Not discriminating any of their talents, but like Cliff was the one that knew what he was doing, and then James, Kirk, and Lars, or not Kirk, James,
Kirk Hammett,
James, Dave, Lars, Ron McGovney, like all the old dudes before Kirk, and then Kirk himself.
Right, I forgot about that. Huh. That's right.
Out of everybody, Cliff was like the one who studied music, the one who knew about harmony, the one who knew what he was doing. Like, yeah.
Now, I wouldn't have been into Metallica had it not been for Guitar Hero. The first song first song I ever heard from them was One. And I liked that a lot because it had the I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And then I go to Guitar Hero 4, it had Trapped Under Ice, which now that's my favorite album, but I didn't really have any context going up to that. I heard that one, I was just like, this new Metallica sucks. But it wasn't new Metallica, It was older Metallica.
Right.
But then I like listened to more songs from them, and I was like, okay, now I can see where they got to this.
Yeah, and you can ask Dan, in high school I was such a Metallica fan. I absolutely fucking hated Megadeth. because that whole war.
Yeah.
Right. You played also at the Iron Post a little bit.
Yes.
And anywhere else that you've played around town?
At the Canopy Club. We've played at our high school parking lot. We've
we were the high school band at the time.
We played at the Urbana Free Library's basement 3 times. 3 times.
2
times for their zombie prom.
The first incarnation of the band played Air Records.
Right.
And then they shut down.
Yeah, and then they shut down, became CUCD and Vinyl, and moved to different. They couldn't get the venue space. Like I hit them up and I'm like, do you have venue? Do you do shows still? And they're like, yeah, but someone bought the venue space. And come to find out, it was like some jewelry gallery or something.
Champagne is Also a Band podcast is proud to support Jubilee Cafe. Jubilee Cafe is a free weekly meal program at Community United Church of Christ, 805 South 6th Street in Champaign, Illinois. Jubilee Cafe serves a home-cooked meal from 5 to 6:30 each Monday. Their mission is to feed hungry people by cooking healthy, delicious meals and by serving their guests restaurant-style with servers waiting on tables. Jubilee Cafe is open to anyone who cares to eat with them. Because food insecurity among students is so high, they serve students as well as others in and around the Champaign-Urbana community who struggle with hunger. Meals are free to all and will be served each Monday evening. Located in the accessible lower level of the building at 6th and Daniel Streets in Champaign. For more information on the meal or how to volunteer, go to the Jubilee Cafe CUCC Facebook page or email them at jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org. That's jubilee.cafe@community-ucc.org.
Hockey.
No. I'm okay. Who wants to who wants to be asked first?
Oh, okay.
Dan. Okay.
Well,
so
ready.
Here we go. Dan,
Do it again.
what is your favorite non-musical thing?
Hockey.
Okay. And
Okay, so I like grew up near St. Louis, and one of the things that I would always see was like, especially because I grew up when like the Blues were I think there's a whole bunch of artifacts that my dad had from when the Blues were the President's Trophy winner, and from like when they got Gretzky and like, oh, this is gonna be our year. Then Yzerman from center ice, he shoots, he scores, you know. But anyway, there's like a whole bunch of stuff left over from that he still had. Like he had a poster up on his wall in his in the room that he taught in, and I just never knew too much about it until I was like 8 years old, and I got into baseball. I got in the Cardinals and all that. I started throwing the ball up to myself and just catching it, and I got really good at baseball. And then it got cold out, and I was like, well, it's too cold for baseball. Like, what's a cold sport? And then I think hockey. And then all of a sudden, I'm like really into the Blues. I get street hockey stuff. I'm out firing clappers at a cooler. Just ripping sweet clappers at a cooler when I was 8 years old. I turned 12. It's after the 2011 World Series. I like how baseball is always a gateway there. 2011 World Series. Cardinals win it all. It was a miracle season. We came back in the last minute. We were down to our final strike twice. Ended up winning the World Series. And I was just like, okay, time for the Blues to win a Stanley Cup. They fire their coach. They get Ken Hitchcock. And have a really good season. It was probably one of the best ones I had seen at the time. We get past the first round for the first time since the 90s. And you get swept by the Kings. Violent Gentleman comes along. Bench Clearers comes along. There's like all this really cool merch. It's about hockey and hardcore too. So it's like mixing my favorite things together. And then the Blues won the Stanley Cup. And now I'm just a hockey guy.
You're sold.
Is it my turn now?
Well, wait for it.
Actually,
Austin.
Hockey.
No. All right, Austin.
Yes.
What is your favorite non-musical thing?
Hockey.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you get to talk to... Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Damn.
That's another reason why me and Dan are friends. Hockey.
But are you both St. Louis Blues fans?
No. I am a Detroit Red Wings fan.
Oh, all right.
But the Blues are...
So you like squid?
Maybe.
Isn't that the Red Wings? Don't you toss
or something?
Don't they toss squid on?
Yeah,
the...
they throw squid on the rink.
But no.
Dan and Austin, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you
all
for
the way
having us.
to Sonoris and telling me all about your song "Gun to Your Head." Well, as much as you can about your song.
Wait.
I'm just teasing.
Can we note that we only talked about the song for 5 minutes?
We talked about a lot of things.
Then the rest was
and that's good.
Hockey and
Metallica dropped tuning and but thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll catch you around and see what else you come up with in your next bands, your next iterations of music, your whatever. It's going to be great. So thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Champagne is Also a Band podcast.
This is Dan Wachtels.
This is Austin Yancy from Not for the Faint of Heart, reminding you, great music is out there. Go find it where you live.
said champagne is also a podcast.
Did I fucking really?
Yes, you did.
All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Fuck. Thank you for listening to Podcast is also a champagne.
You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
South Beaker on the inside.